Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the 24th. And this is a new historical fiction. Well, it's based on a true story, because you know it's a true story. And it's about a young black man who's part of the 24th United States Infantry Regiment and the Houston Riot that happens after they mutiny and revolt on the town that they're stationed at before being sent over to fight in World War I. And what this film does really, really well, from director Kevin Wilmot, who also wrote it, is that it doesn't really pull punches in portraying the tough racial situation that this film's trying to portray. And I think a lot of films fall into that trap of making it a little too glossy, making it a little too watered down, or making it a little more accessible for a viewing audience to enjoy it. And then it oversimplifies the situation. This film, I felt like, really captured just that pure tension in the air between these soldiers in this regiment, and even amongst themselves, who all have different perspectives on things. Where our young protagonist in this film, Officer Boston, played by Trey Byers, who is fantastic, he is portraying a young man who has a lot of potential, could easily become a captain of a regiment who's just probably going to be a figurehead, because that's kind of how they're treating this particular regiment. But he wants to be there. He wants to fight. He wants to fight for his country. He wants to do honor to his role in the military. And you see him come to blows with some of his fellow African American soldiers because they have these different perspectives. They don't want to just be treated as some kind of token. And he has particular blows with the one particular Sergeant Hayes, played by Mykelti Williamson, who's Bubba in Forrest Gump. He's fantastic in this film as well. And there are some very poignant emotional moments between the two of them sporadically through this, because Hayes is higher than Boston is, and there's some really uncomfortable moments where he forces him to show it, despite the fact that Hayes is not in a great place, and it builds up to really sad emotional moments. You have characters like Thomas Hayden Church's character, Colonel Norton, who they give him a little bit of background, but he's still more of like, he's that good one white person in the movie that supports them, and he's kind of utilized as he's more of a plot device and a character device for Boston to really push for, like, do the right thing, make all these black soldiers come into line, it's for the best. And then you have Hayes, who's on the opposite end, and really it's a struggle for Boston in the center, trying to figure out exactly what he feels and what's important to him. And along the way, it's like there's some really hard scenes to watch. You get to see this extremely racist man pee on one of the soldiers, spit in their faces, kill a black man. And there's some really intense moments, and Wilmot, the director, really captures some intensity in those scenes. And I have to say, a lot of the quote-unquote antagonists in the film are like cookie cutter, racist number one, racist number two, and there might not be as much depth in a lot of those aspects in the film, especially in terms of the characters, for the white characters in the film, especially the ones that are just legitimately their job's just to be racist and terrible. And there's not a whole lot of layers to them, so sometimes it feels a little overly simplified, but they don't pull punches. And I think that's the most important thing about this film is you see horrible things. And when things come to blows in the climax of this film, I was shocked. Like, my jaw was dropped watching what was going on. And I got hit really hard emotionally in the climax of this film, knowing what they would have to answer to for their actions. And I feel like this film really captures that. There's a love plot for Boston and this woman, and like they have a nice chemistry, but I never feel like that love story really grows into much besides really showing a different aspect of Boston's personality. And I feel like the film could have done without it. There could have been other ways to portray that human connection that Boston had, but in the end, the 24th is a really raw and powerful drama that really delivers on the hard moments. And there's a lot of great tension. I felt very tense on the edge of my seat in a lot of scenes in this film. There's some great character moments. And where the story might kind of oversimplify or use some two-dimensional characters in key places, this film really delivers an impassionate story that's really very, very relevant at this moment today with everything going on in our country in terms of racial relations. And I think this is an important film. So I think you should swing by. I watched it on Princeton Garden Theaters, independent virtual cinema, but go check out The 24th. It's a really special and relevant film. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland reviewer.